well, um, here I am. It's been a while. Sure you missed me. Maybe I'm not sure about that. Maybe you could let me know if you missed me. But I've pretty much been doing the same thing I normally do, work and beg for money on YouTube. Oh, I haven't been doing that? You've noticed? Thank you. I've tried not to be doing that. It does come up from time to time. I remember the good old days when I used to tell people to go to Patreon and all that kind of stuff, and I don't do that much anymore. So I figured I'd bring it up and congratulate myself, basically. So that's it. But it's Friday, and here I am. And there you are, wherever you are. So that's about it. My question to you is, have you seen anything strange lately? Do you have any questions? That's not what I expect to see. I don't have a good shock acting improv stuff.
It's hilarious.
So we've been having some conversations about conversations. Not really, but we have been talking about some random stuff, and we kind of delayed starting the stream because we got sidetracked with those topics. But let's spontaneously discover what we are going to topicize. Topeka? Topeka, Kansas.
I think it's
has good topics.
Topeka-size. We could talk about your little savage bug experiment.
Hey, yeah, actually, that's a good topic. Jeremy, I could get you on here. I could totally get you on here.
You can.
Yeah. Do you want this, or are you at a volleyball game again? No, let's hang out if you have time this evening. I'll wait for your answer. In the meantime, he's laughing and rolling, apparently. He's
okay.
Rolling and laughing.
Roll on the floor.
He's
laughing.
Rolling all the way. He has about 20 minutes. That's about how long it'll take me to switch this over. But,
oh, to Google Hangouts.
Yup.
That's...
Which I can totally do.
Who else we got? Who else is that?
Wait,
Somebody
I don't have to...
something.
I don't have to switch anything over. You just, I don't know how it works. Preacher Bear.
Preacher Bear? Now, there's a gentleman I haven't talked to in a long time.
It's been a while.
A long time. How's it going, Preacher Bear?
No group. Let's do this guy. I don't know. Maybe this will work. I just don't know. Maybe you'll be able to hear me, but you won't be able to see me. I think that's how it'll work, possibly.
That's how it usually works.
I
don't have to deal with the technical issues today.
Yeah. All right, you talk while
I don't know what he said. I'm blind from over here. So.
Oh, yeah. So, good evening, lads. And then Jeremy says, haha, no worries, sup, preacher. And then, how are you, brother? All good in the hood? So, Preacher Bear has officially become a gangsta.
Well, he was always a gangster.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. The arrows. How could I forget?
I mean...
Let's talk easy. And then I'm doing great. That was Jeremy. And then Brad is here.
Hey, Brad.
AKA Whistleboy. What green screen magic is this? Well, actually, that's a good theory.
I am a green screen.
Yeah, he's like sitting in a different, yeah, see, I don't know if you notice, but like you see the edge. You see how unrealistic the edge is?
It doesn't fade well.
Yeah, it's just, he's like an overlay, and that's why, but it's a magical underlay overlay. It's pretty fancy.
It's called sandwiching green screens.
Yeah.
And there's literally no delay either, so it's...
No delay.
We've
got a fast connection.
It's very fast.
The Midwest has the best internet, possibly only second to China.
It's and Iraq.
Oh, do they have really good internet there?
Yeah, they have really good internet. Why are you looking at my computer screen? What sorcery is this?
Well, I just wanted to make it more realistic for you guys because, just trying to please the crowds.
Yeah,
That's all.
that's true.
Intoxicating. There we go. It's not the longest email address in the world, just one of the longest. All right. So I did invite you, though.
What else we got going on over there?
We've got, Brad said, what green screen magic is this? Already talked about that. OG and Packing Arrow here. That's right.
That's right.
Brad said, is he just a tiny person, or did you green screen him in and scale him down? Yeah, that's Charles.
Yeah.
And I green screened him in.
I actually am a lot smaller in real life. I'm like a hobbit, and Devin is a giant.
I mean, can't you tell from the beard that is just now barely coming in?
It's like a reverse
This is my-
hobbit, though, because I don't have any facial hair, and he does.
This is my peach fuzz. It takes a little while to look like a real beard. I invited, but you have to answer the phone.
Got a pretty hopping chat going on over there.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, everybody. Appreciate that. What do we have going on? Oh, I accidentally declined. Okay, well, I re-invited you. And there you are.
It's Jeremy.
Okay, so...
We can't hear him.
Nope. Hold on.
Oh, now we can see all of his glorious beard.
So,
That's right.
Hold on. I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Because that'll be halfway. No, he can't even hear me. Okay. So, the way that this should do... Headset. That's the problem. Stuck to my headset. Give me a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. We want microphone from the webcam, and we want speakers from the Asus. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can hear you. But
Sweet.
but you can't see me. You can just see my little icon.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and pull up the video on my computer.
Yeah.
It'll be a delay, but I'll get an idea what's up.
Yeah. Well, Charles is in movie magic fashion next to me.
Yes.
If I cast a shadow on
What
him,
is it? What is this
See?
sorcery?
no shadow. So that proves that he is not actually behind me. But
True.
I'm pretty good with the green screen action.
Almost 200 miles away.
I was gonna say 300,000.
That seems,
Oh, wait, where
that
am I?
seems extreme.
Which direction? I need to look this direction. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh.
I really got into JLP for 2 weeks, and then in my related videos was your video on him. Is your opinion of JLP still the same? Even more so. I kept trying to watch him for a while after I did that video. And JLP, for anybody watching this, Jesse Lee Peterson.
Heretic.
Yeah, he's unquestionably like, I don't have any, like, he needs saved.
Burn the witch.
Like, you don't know who's saved and who's not saved. You kind of do, actually, and we kind of have reasons and ways to know who's saved and not saved, and based on his fundamental beliefs, based on things that he said.
How do you tell he's a witch?
At that time of that video, I was under the impression that he could have been just partially retarded and was just trying to do a good thing, but kind of retarded, and it just wound up being evil accidentally. And I gave him that
Oh, the
possible.
glorious beard went away.
Yeah, I don't know what in the world that's about.
I'm still here.
I got you. We lost your video.
It's because I'm responding to my pastor on my other
Okay.
Hangouts.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
It's fine. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there he is.
I haven't even put you on the
That's
video.
weird.
People can hear you.
I don't care. They don't need to see me. I mean, my beard's fairly glorious, but it's not groomed
It's
or anything.
looking thorough today.
Dude, you look great.
Looking thorough.
I've got to share you.
I'm a little jelly, to be honest with you.
Except I
Oh,
need to do this number right here.
I have like 3.5 more years, man, and the no more shaving thing takes effect.
All right, so
nice.
the Jesse Lee Peterson, I'll just wrap that up. But Jesse Lee Peterson only cemented and only has said more things that are completely against the gospel, against the Bible, against God. He's just charlatan isn't even the right word. He's literally just a false teacher. And I guess the only question is how cognizant he is of that. You have to hope that somebody is aware of leading others astray, but I don't know that because of the blindness of their sin. I think that some people are blinded by their sin and somehow refuse, or they don't acknowledge the fact that they're leading people astray, especially when it's just like Joel Osteen. But because he's reinforced with massive book sales, he's reinforced with people telling him that that he changed their life. Just because somebody changes your life doesn't mean that that's a good thing.
Yeah, that they changed it for the better.
Or that they change it for the better. But
you changed my life. I'm now
Preacher Bear.
Like,
Preacher Bear said that this situation of the green screen has proved that my room is flat.
That's also true.
It's two-dimensional.
Good point, Preacher Bear.
When I step into this room, I submit myself.
It's like Paper Mario up in here.
Exactly. He said it better than me. Even better. JLP is a race baiter. Yeah, you could say that he says stuff to be
But I
provocative.
mean, name a politician that isn't, so.
Yeah.
I can name probably 3 politicians that aren't.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
I'm reading the comments.
you saw what Brad said, right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you gotta read it out loud, 'cause
yeah.
I can't read it. I'm blind, and I don't have...
It's a homonym, buddy. That's all it is a homonym. But anyway,
yeah, I hear you. It just says that
so
it was a typo that led to some awkwardness.
Oh, the baiter?
Yeah.
Okay.
you got it. All right,
Okay.
so
I'm with you. I'm with you.
on this topic, since I only have a few minutes, it's kind of funny because my day has kind of revolved around this topic of who is saved and who is not saved.
Oh, okay.
And
Good topic.
It is a good topic.
So yeah, 2 interesting things. I'm sure you're aware. Chuck may not be, but that Kanye did drop his Christian album today called Jesus is King.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's listening to it currently and sending me screenshots of the lyrics.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So here's the thing. A couple things about Kanye. One, if you haven't watched it, there's a pretty good video up with Jeff Durbin from Apologia Church interviewing Kanye's pastor.
I like Apologia Church videos.
Apologia is phenomenal. Jeff Durbin does a really good job. This pastor, I will tell you this much: this pastor is on point. And
well, I've actually gotten into a lot of arguments over the Kanye thing with people just jumping out of the woodwork to judge him, and I'm like, listen, guys, like, if he's a new Christian, name one person who converted to Christ that had everything together the minute they found out who Christ was.
Exactly.
Most of them went,
point.
I don't have a clue what to do.
Expecting some sort of advanced sanctification all of a sudden, and it's like, come on, people. But the worst part for me is, so on Twitter today, there was a guy who was questioning whether Kanye could even be saved. Like, had he
Oh
done,
my
had
goodness.
he done so much in life that he couldn't be saved? And I'm like, and he literally he phrased it like a Steven Crowder changed my mind. He's like, Kanye, couldn't be saved, changed my mind. And I was like, so I said, okay, well, Paul was on his way to have Christians murdered before he was drawn
Right.
to Jesus Christ.
Literally.
Preacher Bear said Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
changed
there
my
you
mind.
go, Preacher.
Paul,
That was
one
exactly my point. Was
I bet that
Dude
dude
was-
was Catholic. Preacher Bear said. No offense,
So,
Ian Bear Pig. No offense.
Okay,
So that
so-
was the whole. That was my first response. Was like, how about Paul? I'm pretty sure if a murderer can be saved, then somebody who has
the
said naughty
thief,
words.
the thief
and
on the
whatnot
cross,
can be
literally in
saved.
the last 45 minutes of his life, possibly. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, actually, he outlasted Jesus on the cross, so I mean, he was alive for a while. But I'm just saying, like, in the last few hours of his life, like, he's like, "Forgive me," and Jesus is like,
Right.
"You're gonna be with me in paradise." Like, okay, so that thief died hours. Like,
Yeah.
saved hours before he died. Okay, and then
we
secondly,
would hope. Go ahead.
Kanye has changed a lot of things about his life in the last
Yeah.
6 months. Like, he's
You can see
told
through.
his wife his daughters are no longer allowed to wear makeup. They're not going in fashion shows. He stopped making rap completely. That's secular. He almost quit the music scene altogether.
Yeah.
Like, he bought a ranch out in, like, Wyoming. Has
Yeah.
taken his family out there. Like, in all of the pictures that they take as a family, like, his wife is dressed modestly, wearing a headdress most of the pictures she's in. Like, those are some pretty significant changes. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
There's
saying
all of
I'm not
that.
saying it's an indication
Well-
that he's a saved man, but
Without a publicity stunt, though. He didn't, like, start a new clothing line and be like, hey, I'm not going to do
No,
rap
right.
anymore, but come buy all my clothes.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not there's no apparent publicity stunt, I should say.
No. And the other thing is, there was even people that were recording with him that complained because he was telling them if they were going to be working with him on this project, he didn't want them having sex outside of marriage or watching porn. Like, I mean, they were upset about the fact that he was being
So
kind of
dogmatic about it.
legalistic, but to a good extent, So, anyway,
I mean, like, people
What
are
was I
like,
gonna
judge
say?
him by his works, judge him by his fruit, and I'm like, guys, if you're going
Right.
off of that, then I'm sorry, but you've got to lean towards the side that he is saved, because he's changed a lot about his life.
he
A
looks
lot.
a lot like a new. He looks a lot like a new creature to me. And obviously, like, you got to pray for him. You got to pray that he's getting
Yes.
good discipleship.
Well, that was my
Um,
main point too. Is like, why aren't we praying for him? I mean, if this is a new thing for him, pray that God puts the right people in his path,
Soil and not
Yeah.
the rocks.
like, and
'Cause
that it's
you
not
don't
just
want him
something
to-
that springs up and goes away. Exactly. Like, that's a perfect allegory. Like, pray for him. Stop dogging on him. Like, which of us have it put together, even now? Like,
years
I've known
in.
Christ for years, and I still probably, to the outside in, look a lot like somebody that may not even know God. Like, and I do, but am I living it the right way? Like, I don't know. Like, it's a sanctification process. Like, I tried my best, but I mean, which of us have it
Yeah.
put together to the extent that anyone would be able to look at you from the outside in, not knowing anything about you, and say, yeah, that dude definitely 100% is a changed man?
Right.
Like, name
Yeah,
anyone.
it's crazy. It's like they expect him to be like all of a sudden on some level where I feel bad for him, because obviously, same way I used to feel bad for Owen a lot, because they're so heavily scrutinized. They're going to have so many people feeding into them, and what Kanye's got to do is pray for discernment, because he's going to have all these messages coming at him from people of all different walks. And
Well, I would say for sure we need to be praying for the Spirit to teach him. Like,
Yeah, because he's
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
It appears he's trying to do way too much too fast.
Yep, I agree with that, and I appreciate his heart. with trying to do a Christian album, but I'm kind of with you on that. He probably should have waited for that because it is going to be heavily scrutinized beyond what somebody who's been just saved should be putting out and should be scrutinized.
I mean, yeah.
My wife said that it's a pretty impressive album though. Like
I've listened to about 5 songs on it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And she said like not necessarily a talent, but just the content, like the message that he's saying.
Pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the mix right now, from what I hear. I'm probably being a little hypercritical when it comes to the production of it, just because I feel like it should be some of the highest level of production of any Christian rap I've ever heard. You know what I mean?
But again, he's trying on a new thing, so I mean you can't dog on him too hard for that.
And he's doing it kind of quick. But I will say he's got one song with I can't remember the guest rapper, but Kenny G is actually on it.
What?
Playing saxophone, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
A little blast for the past. I think that's the what is it? The gospel is Jesus is Lord. I think it's on Jesus is Lord. It's either Jesus is Lord or Use the Gospel. Anyway.
Well, he actually went so far as to use his Hebrew name in a few of his songs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he's like there's actually lyrics that say Yeshua is my king, like, and I was like, that's pretty,
I thought you were saying his Hebrew name.
No.
Was it Kanye? What does
no,
Khan mean?
Like using Jesus' Hebrew name.
Gosh, that's what I thought. I was like, does Kanye have a Hebrew name?
No. Using Jesus' Hebrew name.
Yeah, so Yeshua, yeah.
Yeah, he said he's like, and I was just like, man, he's like, if he's faking, he's doing a really good job of it. Put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyways, so like I said, definitely his pastor is legit. So that's a good sign that the guy he's spying on is legit. So a couple things about that. That was some nonsense drama where people were questioning his salvation. Stuckey, what's her name? My brain's trying to work. Is it Mary Beth Stuckey?
I don't know that.
I don't know the name.
She's the one that does goofy videos and stuff on Blaze TV and all that. Yeah.
Well,
for doing that video of her and AOC where people were like, "Oh, this is doctored." It was like obvious it was doctored. It was parody. Well, anyway, she tweeted out because apparently it's been reported that Joel Osteen has invited Kanye to Lakewood Church.
Oh.
Okay.
And Kanye, it would be so funny if Kanye went there and blasted him for being a fake Christian and a false teacher.
Okay. So that's what Stuckey did. She goes, wouldn't it be awesome if the first time the people of Lakewood Church heard the gospel was from Kanye West?
Did you do that? You know how, that
incredibly
glorifying to God.
Hysterically glorifying.
I just go, that is God's sense of humor right there.
Kanye West is going to walk into there and call him a heretic, false teacher, and then preach the actual gospel from the pulpit for the first time. Listen, guys, you want to know who Jesus is? Jesus changed my life. Like,
Goose, what's up? He said, Goose said,
Mary Beth Stuckey, thank you.
Yeah, Mary Beth Stuckey is the blonde chick. Yeah, I don't watch Blaze.
She's kind of funny. I don't watch Blaze either. It was a tweet.
It was because of Glenn Beck, I think.
Yeah, I canceled my Crowder because of the whole Blaze nonsense. So, anyway. There was one other thing I was going to say. Oh, it was some stupid side note. So this guy accused me of being a hippie Christian because of the whole Kanye thing. He's like, "Oh, I suppose you just think grace is going to do all the work."
Well, I mean,
yeah.
No, I don't think grace is going to do all the work. I think that Jesus' blood is going to do all the work, and grace is going to suffice in the meantime.
If we're being completely reductive, yeah.
I don't want to work against his grace.
Yeah.
However, yes.
Will I take advantage?
Exactly.
Grace is going to do everything. No, that's what Christians think.
But Preacher Bear made a good
Anyway.
point, actually, about the Kanye thing. He said he may have just been really moved by his experience of Jesus and had to respond the way that he knows how, which is a nice way of kind of like looking at another way to look at it, instead of like, oh, he should have waited, blah blah blah. I mean,
he's responding the only way that, with the only talent
how
that
many
he
different
knows how to
how many
use.
how many different dudes in the Bible ran around naked?
Yeah.
Was it? I mean, it was at least one, but I guess David.
Well, David played music. He wrote
And,
songs
well, yeah.
like whenever he was either sad
There was
or
people that
happy
did
or,
things
like,
that looked strange from the outside, but they did it because
I mean,
God-
Ezekiel laying on his side and marrying a whore, like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty odd. As God told, I mean,
anyone
That's
else
so
watched
random.
the Porcelain documentary? Brad asked, had anybody seen the Porcelain documentary on Owen?
No. I saw a tweet that said that I don't know, it was calling out Owen, saying he was going crazy over this doc or whatever. I don't know.
Was that on the tweeter?
Over the stock?
Yeah. Over the documentary.
The doc.
I
The doc.
called it a doc.
Gotcha.
No, like I guess a trailer for it came out or something. Everybody's like, "Oh, Owen's losing his mind over this," and I'm just like, whatever.
It's not.
I don't-
It's the boy who cried wolf, though. People have said that he's losing his mind so many times, you can't even really be like,
Yeah.
oh, now he's losing.
It's like Trump. It's like, I'm sorry, but I've already survived 20 of the world ending, so I think I'll be okay.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's getting to the point with the Trump stuff that I just, like, I can't even. I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, it's like, who cares? Like,
What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's my question. What are you doing right now? What do you do every day, and what are you doing with your life? Like,
Yeah.
those arguments, the conversations about conversations. It's a lot of it is just a lot of wasted time.
Like, I'm sorry, but anybody that's listening to anything the mainstream media says
Ash.
anymore is like, who freaking cares?
This is
right?
the first time I've ever seen Ash all day in the chat. You
What's
know,
up, Ash?
she gave.
What is happening tonight? Like, there's so many people here. Like,
It's because I green screened you in,
it's because you made me a hobbit on screen.
and I'm acting so good. Like, he's not here right now. Look, fist bump. He's not even here. Boom! It's awesome. It's so cool. Anyway, but yeah, I'll give you a wrench because you gave me a wrench on your channel.
That was a terrible fist bump, by the way. I just saw it. It just came up on my screen. That was awful. Oh, y'all gotta practice more.
Oh, wait, other way. Oh, nope, still the other way.
I mean, whatever. Anyway,
All right, guys. It is. I'm about to take my wife on a hot date for her birthday. So
Oh, happy
I
birthday to her.
Happy birthday to her, but still hanging out with us is way cooler. You should, for her birthday, you should put her on stream with us.
Yeah, she would not be happy with
It's
that
funny
situation.
because I've enjoyed your
Yeah.
wife's background commentary in the past. Yours and
Yes.
you know who was really funny once was actually Pearson's wife.
I like that
Yes.
guy.
Robert's.
I wish we could get Robert Pearson on here more often.
Yeah.
Robert Pearson is, dude. I like listening to some of his stuff in the morning. Like, his insight into some of Nate's stuff was like, wow, I didn't even think about it that way. That is actually really cool. Like, I didn't even think about breaking down the way that Nate did stuff that way. Like, and he like shined some revelation into that for me, and I'm like, wow, I completely underestimated that. Like, he's very, very astute and very wise. Like, it's surprising. Not surprising, I should say. It's not surprising that he's wise, but like, you just like on first glance, like, I would not have I wouldn't have thought that he was like it's for the type of work and everything he does and the way he first talked and everything when I first started watching his channel. Like, I was like, oh, he's pretty cool. And then, like, the more I got to watching, I'm like, wow, he is really deep. Like, he has a really cool perspective on things. So,
Yeah, he's humble. He's humble to the point that you don't expect the wisdom that he has when he talks.
yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? He's
Wait,
so
what?
humble that you're like, oh, wow, I did not realize you had this insight.
Well, right, because
So-
he doesn't want to step on anybody's toes or anything, but at the same time, like,
Yeah.
because he has common respect for people, which is another thing that is lacking in a lot of people, is just a respect for his fellow person. So,
Which
Yeah.
person? I
All
got
right, guys.
distracted in the
I
Roger.
chat.
really do got to get going.
Oh yeah.
Love hanging out with y'all. We'll see. My daughter may have. No, she does not have volleyball next Friday. You don't, right? The week after. So I should be good next Friday. I'll see you guys.
all right.
Oh.
Bye.
See ya, man. We'll go back over to this guy. Yeah, I guess that's not in the way. So yeah, lots of action in this. Ash all day showed up.
What's up, Ash?
Which is cool. She can't come on the video or
Well,
whatever.
that's super lame, but nice having you here either way.
But yeah, anybody that Goose, you've been on before. Ian, what's up? This is the most viewers I've had in probably the last 2 months since I moved. So thank you. Thank you for showing up.
Oh, we forgot. We were going to talk about the bug experiment.
The bug experiment was pretty amazing. We got a mason jar. That's the beginning of any great story. We got a mason jar, and we captured what was flying. Well, I say we. Let me clarify. My wife is awesome. She's really good at catching things, especially creatures, little creatures, God's creatures. Anyway, so there was a wasp / yellow jackety wasp in the house. She caught it in a mason jar. And then she found the next thing she added to this jar was a spider. A good sized spider. Like,
It's about the size of a dime.
dime size?
Maybe a tad smaller, but about the size of a dime.
Its body, yeah, was a little smaller, but the legs.
Body and legs, dime sized.
Anyway, so that was the second item, or animal to go inside. And then the next
Dead
one
fly.
was a fly.
Dead fly.
Partially
Well, partially
dead.
dead.
Partially dead. Partially
Still
dead.
moving,
Wiggling,
but mostly dead.
And then, a ladybug. Okay, a ladybug. That's where everything started to get really
Intense.
intense. Is a good word. Scary, terrifying, and hysterical. His commentary was superb, I have to say. We green screened him into the
ladybug experiment, obviously.
the dining room.
Obviously.
The dining room, if you want to call it that. It's the room where we dine, so it's the dining room. It's whatever.
Carried the laptop down.
Yeah,
I was part of this experiment.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, where does this go? So there's this situation where we saw the spider walk over to the ladybug and go, huh, and then go to the other side. And then we see the wasp go over to the ladybug and go, yeah, and then go,
And he's like, I gotta get out of here.
and he flies on all the way up to the top of
No. That was way after.
Well, it was.
Okay,
but-
so it started off. The ladybug is his first action was to go to the fly and start eating his eyeballs. Like, that was what the ladybug went for first. Was like, I'm gonna go destroy this fly's eyes, because it's horror. Like, this is a horror movie for bugs. Like, and like the spider's like, I'm gonna go check. No, and he like backs off the ladybug, and then like all of a sudden the wasp like gets close to the ladybug, and the ladybug like leaves the fly temporarily and goes and crawls underneath the wasp and starts trying to eat its legs.
No joke.
And the
joke.
wasp is like freaking out, and then like it walks back to the fly and starts eating that, and then it's like it was as if the spider and the wasp were having a conversation. Because the wasp like went over to the spider.
It did.
And the spider's like, and like went over to its web and like hung out. And then the wasp is like, it turns around goes to the other side of the jar and like comes back to the spider again as if it's like, dude, will you please just bite me so I can go to sleep? And that's when I got the hilarious idea that all they can hear inside this jar is this ladybug chomping on this fly's eyeballs, and it's just like and it's driving the wasp insane. And my theory is that the spider isn't actually poisonous, or it would have bitten the wasp and put it out of its misery by this point.
Probably.
But the wasp can't get away from the noise, and it just wants to take a nap. So it flies to the top of the jar.
Sleep deprivation. We're talking about days here. We're talking about like 3 and 4 and 5 days of who knows how much sleep deprivation.
And the spider is just like, I can't tone this out. I have 8 eyeballs. I have to see this 8 different ways. Like, I have like front row seats, and he's not venomous, so he can't even kill the ladybug to end the misery. It's like the worst form of torture ever.
Can you imagine? You watch one thing that's traumatic, but to see that traumatic thing 8 times, what we were talking about is a spider's got to be like, listen, I eat flies for breakfast. Like, it's part of normal life for the spider to be eating flies. But when he sees a ladybug doing it, he's like, oh my gosh, that's what that looks like.
He chews so loud.
I just sucked their blood. He's eating the fly. It's
like literally
crazy.
Eating it.
It's crazy, and that is one of the adventures, my friends.
And now there's a stink bug in there too.
Oh yes, we had to add the stink bug because now we had to level the playing field. The ladybug was going to win. It was uncontested.
Yeah.
The ladybug was going to be like the last one standing.
I'm pretty sure the wasp was trying to sting itself to get away from them.
Pretty much.
It was pretty awful. What do we got going on over here?
So Preacher Bear asked, Ash said multicultural mason jar.
Boom. Nailed it.
Preacher Bear said, what mason?
Oh.
Oh.
It's an allegory for the world. The Masons built the jar that everyone is being caged and forced to fight in. Diversity.
Not good.
I tied it in.
But then
Preacher
Bear said, have you done the rice experiment? And then
Go on.
And he said, and no, it's coming for you. Like, no, like you know something. I don't know what that means. And then Brad says that we're performing, he just says insect abuse. But he's accusing us of insect abuse.
Well,
I considered that. It's
possible. It's a social experiment. Don't worry about it. It'll turn out fine. No one will die except the fly.
Yeah, I don't hold any.
But technically, we could be saving them from the elements right now because on Tuesday
it was 28. A couple of days ago, it was like 28.
Yeah, they would have been dead outside anyways. So technically, we're actually giving them a few more days than they would have had. Torturous.
The spider said. He said the spider knew it was coming for him. I know. That ladybug is ferocious.
It would literally eat them alive.
If they stop moving, that ladybug will eat everything, and live longer.
And probably grow huge.
Probably has
anything else
the smallest lungs in the out of the wasp and the spider. I'd assume that the ladybug requires less oxygen, but I mean I can't confirm that.
It has a huge appetite though for its size.
It's true. I had no idea that they were like carnivores. So there was a little Catholic conversation earlier because Preacher Bear was asking. Okay, that makes sense. I get that you were asking. I thought you were saying, but you were asking. Has Nate gone 100% Catholic? Because
no,
Nate bought. Wow, he bought a bride. They're never gonna watch this. I'm just kidding. They might watch this.
They're probably watching.
No, Nate. That's too funny to say that he.
No, he actually. His last video that I watched, he actually made the commentary that he was in the Catholic Church, and he didn't agree with quite a few things that they were doing. So
yeah,
he did make that comment. Like they tried it out to check it out to see what.
I have a strong feeling that they had many conversations about faith and specifically denomination, moving forward in marriage. They're both very dominating personalities, so I know that they had to have had those sorts of conversations because they knew that. I expect that they would know that difference of opinions can lead to conflict. I've had one of my good friends married somebody of a different denomination, drastically different, and once you have kids, see, usually it's hunky dory because you just do whatever. But once you have kids, then you start like really narrowing down what you're teaching your kids, and that's when you better have already figured out exactly how you're going to manage denominational and theological differences, especially if they require you to go to separate churches and stuff like that. That's just
And I
that's
don't
rough.
think that's that level for them.
No, I don't think so either. But anyway, they're both more than wise enough to have worked that out by now. If Nate went Catholic, I would laugh. Ian Bearpig says this, which Ian Bearpig is Catholic. If Nate went Catholic, I would laugh. He was bashing Catholics so bad one time that I had to say something, and he got pretty weird with it. Dude, Ian, I have a person that converted from Anglican, which is a form of, what's the word for it?
Orthodox?
No. The people that are anti-Catholic. I'm forgetting the word all of a sudden.
Oh,
the whole category of
you're talking about the
people. Everybody that rejects the Catholic faith is called a
heretic.
No. Protestant.
Protestant, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why that word. It's because I don't really think about it very much. Protestant, but anyway, what was I saying? So he changed from being an Anglican Protestant to convert, and he within the last couple of years converted to Catholicism. A friend of mine that I used to work with, and I'm considering interviewing him. He doesn't know that yet. He knows about my YouTube, but but anyway, Ian,
yeah,
we should talk because I mean I do have questions. I want to be able to talk to somebody that is comfortable with difficult questions, but not. I mean, you saw how I interviewed Adam. I'm pretty sure his name's Adam. You saw how I interviewed him. I don't want my interviews to be confrontational at all, or even what's the other word?
Like, well, and I mean, it's
secretive
the same as, like,
or any of that. Like,
I've known Catholics that have a better relationship with God and have a better understanding of the Bible, than a lot of people that profess to be Christians and have a better walk with God than a lot of people that profess to be Christians. So judging a book by its cover just because you say you're Catholic is insanity.
They all said Protestant.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for helping me out with my word that I couldn't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, just because somebody says they're a Catholic either, I'm not going to judge that book by its cover either, because like I said, I've had conversations with some Catholics, like Dr. Sungenis, the guy that actually is one of the pioneers of the geocentrism model, is Catholic, and he is very, very well read in his Bible.
Wait, which guy?
His name is Dr. Sungenis.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and he's the one that actually made a pretty famous documentary on geocentrism.
So let's listen to Preacher Bear's rice experiment that I've...
All right, let's hear it.
It's familiar only in regards to plants, but I've never heard of the actual rice experiment as you portray it. That's very interesting.
All right, let's lay it out.
The rice experiment is this. Get 3 bowls of rice and add water. Now, cuss out 1 bowl. I'm already disqualified, as you all know. I'm just kidding. But not really, but you get it. Speak lovingly to 1 bowl and ignore the last. See the effect on the rice if the treatment it gets.
Well, the same thing's been done with plants too.
Yeah. So here's my hypothesis. I make conditional statements because I like them a lot and I like math and all that. So if there is an effect, my hypothesis is that the neglected will always fare worse than abuse or love. neglect is always worse. And a lot of people would disagree with this. They're like, but you didn't see the way he beat my mom. It was horrible. Neglect is always worse. Even in regard, I mean, neglect is always worse than abuse. But he killed my mom. I mean, there's horrible stories. I still stand as a general rule. There's always exceptions to everything, but as a general rule, I wholeheartedly believe that neglect is the utmost. And here's my justification for that belief, rationale rather. My rationale for that is hell. Hell is the neglect of God's presence. Is the harshest form of punishment. And I can't help but believe that there's a direct correlation in regards to our presence with humans and how God's image is in us and all these different things. We are not miniature gods, but he made us in his image, and the way that we operate is within the realm of his.
I wouldn't go that far.
Which part?
Miniature gods.
No, I said we're not miniature gods.
No, I mean, you kind of said we are.
We are, but we aren't. We're not. I only don't want to say that in the most clear sense because of the Scientologists, the Mormons.
No. It's the pejorative. Like it's El. The word is El.
Oh, like Elohim?
Yes. Not the name of God, not the status that he holds, but Elohim, being sons of God.
Yeah.
El Elohim. Yeah. So yes, he said, "Do you not know that you are Elohim?"
Yeah, well, I know. I just want to avoid any misunderstandings.
I know. It's just a fun little tidbit that people are like, what?
No, so, I mean it is important. It's just don't think that if you think you could abuse it, that your heart's in the wrong place in the first place.
Nate said something the other day that I thought the whole out of his entire video.
Nate now has to watch this video, so you guys gotta spread the word.
Yeah, somebody go text Nate and tell him.
We've talked about him way too much. I could invite him. I'll invite him right now.
But he said something. Yeah, sure. You could try it. He might actually join. But he said something in his video the other day, which I thought was really incredible and very insightful. And I was like, wow, that is really. I never thought about it that way before. But
so Preacher Bear said blasphemy really, really loud with a bunch of exclamation points.
What? So
I don't know if he's typing up a storm or something. I don't know. He said blasphemy at some point.
Oh, maybe. What about the "You are God's" comment? I didn't mean it like that, Preacher Bear.
Brad, yeah. Nathaniel's the one that you and him had a little war in the chat and stuff. It's like,
well, I occasionally still listen to his.
This is not a place. This is not a place for ego. This is a place for Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know what that is. I just wanted to say something that rhymed with ego. Is Yu-Gi-Oh is like a card game, isn't it?
Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah.
Or a cartoon or something. I don't know. Did you know where "Don't Judge a Book from its cover" came from? Preacher Bear asked.
Oh, maybe it was on my Catholic comment. Maybe that's what he was saying blasphemy to. When I said, or maybe he was talking to somebody else entirely in the chat. Maybe he wasn't.
Preacher Bear said, "This is true because abuse and love is still a tension." Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
Then
clarify your blasphemy comment.
We don't know what you're talking about, Preacher Bear.
I don't know who you're saying blasphemy to. If it's one of us, then I definitely want to know what you're saying.
He's like, it's like 2 a.m.
I know, like you're a champion, Preacher Bear.
Okay, so Trippy Hellhunter, which I don't specifically recognize that name, said, "Let go, you ego," which sounds funny, but welcome.
Okay.
Judging a book by its cover was a subversive phrase used by Karl Marx as to his book, which had a red cover. Red in nature is for warnings, so really, we should judge a book by its cover. But what is that in relation to? I was joking about little gods. He was just joking. About the little gods. Thank you for clarifying. We're very well. At least I'm the INTJ. Everything's very literal.
Yeah.
So I get kind of caught up on like, wait a second.
Okay.
What
yeah.
do you mean?
Okay.
Um,
I follow now. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Like I was like, man, you don't. You're usually a dude with pretty thick skin, so for you to say blasphemy, like I'm like, oh, what? I want to know what that's about. Like, so, but where was I? Oh, Nate's comment the other day, on his video, when he said that he was like, the name Israel or whatever is one who struggles with God.
mhm.
But he said like he went through the L is actually Elohim or gods. It's the name of it's more of a reference than a title. And he said, well, what if it means those who struggle with following gods? And I was like, that's actually really interesting because they had a lot of problems with following false gods.
Yeah.
So they have a struggle constantly with following after false gods, one who struggles with gods. And I was like, that's actually really deep. Like that actually deserves some time to look into because that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like that connotation could be there in the name Israel. And I was like, huh. And that was the thing that struck me the most.
Preacher Bear said, no wrestling with God because he fought with an angel. Who fought with an angel? I don't think God.
Israel.
Huh?
Israel. Jacob. Who was
Wait,
renamed.
You're saying Jacob fought with an angel?
Yeah. He who struggles with God. But I mean, obviously, most things that God names have more than one meaning. Like, it applies to, because he became.
There is speculation as to whether or not he wrestled with God or wrestled with an angel, though.
Yeah, because it could have been Jesus.
Exactly.
Right.
There's a lot of ways to look at it. The cool, I mean, I say cool, that sounds so
Lame.
doesn't suffice. But a really special thing about the Bible is, even for the areas that were like, it could mean this or it could mean this, in every case, it technically, you can draw the same conclusions from both potential.
Well, I mean, that's like the
interpretation.
That's basically like does God choose us or do we choose God?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, both. Like, yeah. Both are true. There's enough evidence to back up both. Like,
because the Bible says
says
it both ways.
Yeah, so it's like, and everybody's like, well, one of the two has to be right. Like, well, why can't both be right? Like
the crisp apple was, that was good.
Which is the difference between what do they call that? Calvinism versus Arminianism, right?
Yeah, as far as those breakdown. And somebody said this the other day in a comment on my channel. They said, I believe that's a false dichotomy, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, I agree. It is a false dichotomy. It's just to cause
division,
unintentionally. I think a lot of times the divisions that happen in churches and denominations are, first of all, unnecessary.
And a failure of people to actually listen to other people's opinions.
Yes. Sin prevents us from being better at being the body of Christ. So,
we got going on there.
Some interesting Preacher Bear. I know you said you've got some dyslexia, so I never want to like laugh at that by any means. But sometimes I wonder if you're joking with some of the words you say. I say that not,
Well, you got to read this out loud. You got to remember, I can't read that.
Yeah, I got you. So he said the word is angel in Hebrew. Then he said there is always a deeper meaning. Absolutely.
True.
God has chosen us to, because we will choose to love him back. And then, but he said predetermination. Predetermination
you're talking about
versus
predestination.
Predestination.
Predestination. Predetermination versus predestination.
Predetermination versus predetermination. But here's the thing. My question would be, what's the difference?
Okay, well here's the thing. Is it's like, this is where like
You don't be sorry, Preacher Bear. I'm ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fine. But the way that I look at that, and can be able to justify that he predestined those he foreknew, right? Okay, well, sure. Who did he foreknow?
Everybody.
Everyone. He predestined that everyone should come to him. His will is that no one rejects him. Right?
Yeah, there's a whole
Right,
there's
but
a
that's
really good book on
Yeah.
God's will.
So that's what I'm getting after. Is
There's
the
like
fact
4
that
different types of God's will.
those he
at
predestined, he
least.
foreknew. So he chose everyone. However, not everyone will choose him. Through the sacrifice of Jesus, he made clear that everyone could come to him, and it is his will that they do so. Right? Like, it's not a hard thing to wrap your mind around when you think about it, as he literally chose everyone.
Yeah, and it could, because the Bible literally says God wills for all to be saved. So if he wills for everybody to be saved, but not everybody is saved, then that creates a category, because there's also a providential will of God, where there's certain things that God wills that happen no matter what.
Yeah.
There's a book by Leslie Weatherhead or Weatherfield. Am I ringing a bell? Leslie Weatherhead, I think it is. The Will of God. Tiny little book. It's a day reader. Like, you could just read it in a day. Except you could also read it in a month. He breaks down in a pretty analytical way the different categories of the will of God. And it's helpful to see the distinctions. But it's just a book, but
like, you get into the, like, God chose everyone, is because he tells you that he did.
Preacher Bear says, if all actions are ordained, then we have no true free will. Yet, if God sets out the end from the beginning, inasmuch as the destination, this allows for true free will, and thus a few respond to grace.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because he chose everyone. However, some make the choice to do his will, and others make the choice to reject him. Like, it doesn't change the fact that he chose you from before the foundations of the world. Like, it doesn't change that, but it doesn't mean that he picked 17,000 special people that are the only ones that ever get to be saved. He picked everyone to be saved.
I also come from this perspective of saying this. A lot of people have said, and this Francis Chan and a lot of people have said this sort of thing. It's one of my favorite little short sermons from Francis Chan. Francis Chan does this argument about against people that say the words, "I would never believe in a God that," pure, and fill in the blank. And the fallacy there is presupposing that you have a higher understanding of what God should be than God himself. So I really love and appreciate the way that he broke that down.
Very intelligent.
So the way that I do it is I say, no matter what God says, no matter what God does, it is good. It is perfect.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's some things that we might just not ever know, but whatever the case, whatever he's doing, even if he's restricting all will from us, and we are just robots of God, metaphorically or whatever, it doesn't matter, because he's good. That's the presupposition you have to start with. Now, is that fully supported by Scripture and what he's revealed to us? No, not 100%. But on the other hand, even if it was the case, from my perspective, the way that I try and look at it is, it doesn't matter if we are puppets. It really wouldn't matter. It makes no difference, because God created everything. He can do whatever he wants, and we really don't have a right to argue with how he created things.
Which he did tell us.
Which was?
Whether we don't have the right to argue with him. He did tell us that plain flat out. Like,
so, with like Job and stuff. Yeah. Exactly.
Which is hilarious to me, because Abraham did on several occasions.
Yeah. Abraham. I mean, Abraham's a special character. The
Well, I
Bible is
mean,
full of special
he was
characters. but-
like it's crazy to me that he was known as God's friend.
Yeah,
Like
that
that
is.
is insane.
Well,
to
just
me.
like John
yeah,
with Jesus.
the disciple that Jesus loved. What a title!
It's
Like what a title! Like,
it's not a big deal. Oh, that's why. That's why you were loved, because you don't think it's a big deal. Except, I mean, it's a big deal, but you get what I'm saying.
But I mean,
like
it's
he
just
wasn't. He wouldn't have been
he
a prideful.
walked with God
Yeah.
as his friend. Like
Yeah. It's intense. All right. So
yeah, he did do it.
see you
intense a
later,
lot,
Ian.
too.
Thanks for hanging out.
He did. He did do it a lot. Intense.
Intense.
Dad joke. You're welcome.
Um,
All of you better have laughed.
Preacher Bear said yes. Acts 17:26. Something we. I'll look it up. Excuse
Stop
me.
yawning. You're making me
I
tired.
know. We had a long day. We were building a house, or finishing building a house.
Repairing.
Uh,
Repairing? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just went with building.
Remodeling.
There you go.
That's the word.
You know, you would respond from the foundation of the world. Oh, he knew that you would respond from the foundation of the world, not that he chose you to respond.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just the same as he knew that. It doesn't change the fact that, yeah, his will doesn't change in any of it. The fact that you answered the call, sure, he knew you were going to answer the call. That doesn't change
Either
the fact
way,
that, yeah.
Either way, it's by his will, but the free will to respond, I think, shows God's heart in a clearer way. I agree. Ian Bear had to go. See you guys, and was said bye. And then Preacher Bear said, okay.
Well, yeah, and if there wasn't free will, Jesus would not have said things like, the path is narrow, but few will find it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you can't find something that
he would have been like, it's futile to try.
Yeah.
You just live your life. If
Yeah.
there's no such thing as free will,
Right.
you're like, it's whatever.
Narrow is the path, but few will find it. But some people are going to find it,
Mm-hmm.
which means that they're making a choice at that point to follow the narrow path. Like, it's not like if there's no choice involved in the matter, he'd have been like, some people will be on the narrow path and others won't.
Yeah.
Like it would have been a cut and dry statement. Like, I'm not talking to you because it's useless. You're never going to find me.
It's 3:27 in London. 3:27 a.m. I keep that.
Preacher Bear, did you drink a Red Bull today?
Preacher Bull. I just called
Preacher
him
Bull.
Preacher Bull. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Change your name.
Preacher Bear,
It's final.
Bull Bear. They're both pretty domineering animals. I keep London's time on my computer
Because of you.
because of you.
You're welcome. You're that special to us.
Primarily, there are other benefits of having that time, but
Preacher Bear, remind me. Send me a message on Hangouts at some point, because we need to get back together and finish up our little series on EMP stuff. That was a pretty fascinating series, and we were going to do a part 2, and I have just been so crazy busy, and I'm getting back to being able to have time to do stuff. So
he's headed to bed, so
yeah,
maybe you'll have to send him a message. He might have already left.
hopefully not. Hopefully
He
he's
said
still
he's got to
listening
hit
in
the hay
background.
up early with the chickens. God bless, and please pass my best to the families, and we appreciate that. Thank
Absolutely,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Speaking of the EMP thing, you know, Earth and Homes are. He heard you.
Sweet.
He just replied. I will do. Been busy here. Bless you both, night lads. Thank
Perfect. Appreciate you, sir.
you. EMP. Speaking of the EMP thing, Earth and Homes are sheltered
Mhm.
against EMPs.
Some versions.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 feet. You got to have like 24 inches. That's it.
Well, depending, because some levels of EMP can actually travel through Earth. I found that out from Preacher Bear.
Wow. Do you know the penetration depth?
No, I don't know. He said it just depends on density, soil type, the type of frequency used, so on and so forth.
So lots of lead in your soil so that you can poison everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into it. Like
Copper. You
well-
could. I mean, you could do you could do a copper sheathing. Anyway. But yeah.
he's opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff, and like,
But then you'll never have a cell. Actually, speaking of, I've seen a lot of videos with people with Earth and Homes.
I found out a way to get her.
They
on
don't
that,
have
though.
cell phones. You can have a mobile tower inside of your home.
Well,
that
a mobile
run-
tower on your property that actually runs a landline into your home. and has a minor.
Oh, a landline, so that you're not doing wireless frequencies. Yeah, you could do that. That
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not hard.
I've
You could just build a shed that has your router and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And just, you know, and then hardline everything inside your home, so that you cut down on
frequency noise.
yeah. Dude, when I used to work for AT&T, I think you know that already, but I had the it wasn't the FVD, it was the amplifier, a toner amplifier, and we would put a tone on a line, and then we'd go take our wand to the other and be like, wait, which one of these? And then we'd like sometimes we'd just hold the wand out here,
Yeah.
and we'd touch it with our finger and be like, no, that's not one. Oh, yep, that's the one. And it would be the little toner, you know. But you would take this toner and you would wave it next to a CFL like that or a halogen bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. LED, fluorescent. It's like, oh, so that's why I get a headache. It's insane.
The frequencies.
It's the noise that comes off of, especially fluorescent tubes, are the worst of the worst. Like, you can hear it with your own human ears, but then you have an amplifier and it's like, oh my gosh. And I mean, I've worked in different places. LEDs though are not that bad. And if, as you would imagine,
yeah,
incandescent,
it's a diode versus
have nothing.
Yeah, it's a diode versus literally a frequency being shot across a filament.
Okay, there's electric hum. There's an electric hum from incandescent.
But it's so minor.
But it is minor.
Like, especially if you actually power an LED like it's supposed to be powered, there's literally almost no frequency.
Whoa. Guys. Ian Bearpig leaves. Preacher Bear leaves. And now we're down to 2. Ash probably left. I think Brad might be here. But
still, that was a very...
We got up to 8, I think.
Populated. I mean, it was a busy stream.
Appreciate that. That's pretty good. I mean, I don't know if Goose is still here. Goose only said a couple of things. Goose said something funny, and maybe Goose left because I missed his comment. He said, "I always judge books by their covers, like people with dyed hair." My wife likes to dye her hair.
Touche, salesman.
Careful.
Touche, salesman.
In fact, I think that her YouTube account has a picture of her with dyed hair. Pretty sure. And then, yeah, the trippy Hellhunter guy, whoever that is, he only said one thing. And Brad is here. So Brad is still hanging out.
Hey, Brad. He's a long-termer.
So, yeah. And I'm thankful. Ian has been he's been
what's crazy
faithful viewer. It's
when it comes to YouTube is that people literally take the time out of their lives to listen to you. That's crazy to me.
It is.
It's pretty insane. Like, I do it all the time.
Because I do goofy. I do goofy, yeah. I do pretty goofy stuff. And sometimes I'm pretty meaningless. And
I like to do meaningful with goofy.
Yeah, I know.
Got to keep it mixed up. Keep the people what they want.
I'm not always very good with the meaningful part. Sometimes I feel like it's funny because I have a video that I did 2 weeks ago maybe that I was like, that was a good video. Like, I said a lot of really good stuff. And I got 12 views and I was like, oh man. And like some of the most meaningless videos, like I consider my genealogy videos that I did like super retardedly meaningless. But those got like a bunch of views. I'm just like, oh man, I need to just stop certain things.
I still get rando people all the time commenting on some of my videos.
Really?
I haven't put out anything in ages, and like I still like people are like, yeah man, on point, and I'm like, dude, this video's like a year and a half old.
So speaking of like really getting into somebody like individually, there's a dude that I just started watching. I shared some with Charles. His name's Kit Boga. And he has a Twitch, and he does live on Twitch, but then he puts his edited videos on YouTube. Kit Boga, he scam baits. He calls up Indian scammers and wastes their time, and sometimes gets the opportunity to have heart-to-hearts with a lot of them, and it's really cool. But I've watched this dude for just a week and a half. And it's like, man, you start, and just like Owen, you start to feel like you know the person, and you've watched so much of them, you've seen so much, you spent so much time with them, so to speak, that you feel like they should hear you, like that you have a relationship, which is part of the funny thing about how YouTube works is unless you're in the chat, once somebody gets, because you'll have 15,000 live viewers.
Somebody left a long comment there.
The Kit Boga guy. This is funny. This guy's perceptive, whoever he is. He said, we met when you were looking for Owen's peeps to invite to the channel. I had seen you in chat on his vids. Oh, okay, that was a long time ago. Checked you out, commented a year ago, and you recommended me Bibles. I've been subbed. Cool. That is a long time. Wow.
Sweet.
Cool.
Well, thank you.
Recommending you Bibles. Yeah, that's a really popular topic. And sadly, I don't mean this in a bad way at all. I just wish it wasn't as popular. I just think that there's so much misinformation and hype and hysteria around the topic of choosing a Bible translation. I can't help but think that it's a tool of the enemy. Not that all the Bible's translations are bad, but I think it's a tool of the enemy to influence confusion. There's so many choices that people feel like they can't make one, and then they end up not reading the Bible.
I have about 7 different versions that I read from. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of read. Sometimes I'm like, I want to read from this version right now. But for the most part, I have a couple defaults. But sometimes I'm like, I really want to read from the Amplified. I feel like it right now. I feel like that's going to help aid my goal in what I'm accomplishing.
There was a translation that was just brought to light.
If I'm reading to my kids, I have a translation for that too.
Like there was one that was just brought out recently that a family has been preserving this text. Like it's an Aramaic translation.
Oh, weird.
And they've been holding on to it for ages and not allowed, and they wouldn't allow anyone to have it or whatever. And it just they just finally release it for the public to have or whatever. And it's interesting because it was like it was a translation that was very the same time translation wise as like the Septuagint.
Yeah, I thought there's a name for the Aramaic translation of the Bible. What's odd is that Hebrew is. There's arguments as to whether or not Aramaic and Hebrew, which one is older. Some people, it literally is like a 50-50.
But like the time period that this translation was done in was around the same time as the Septuagint was being written.
The Greek translation of
yeah.
Translation. Yeah. That sounds familiar.
And it's pretty interesting,
Bible.
actually.
There's a name for the Aramaic translation of the Bible. I just can't.
Because in that translation, I want to say that it was like some 1,350 times in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
The words, the word of God or the word of the Lord were changed to just Lord.
Okay, weird.
Because it was supposed to read the word of the Lord, which would represent Christ.
Oh, speaking of, that was a little bit of my recent research. Got something to say about that. Jesus is the Word of God. He's the Torah, but he is also the light. And there's some theories that suggest that day and night in the first 3 days of creation was because God is the light of the world. Jesus is the light of the world.
Yeah.
And that day and night happened because of God, and that the sun was provided to us because
it's a representative of the light, not the source of it.
And so Kent Hovind, for anybody that, so I have a playlist that I've created on my channel. You can look it up. It's Religious Study for Christians. Is what it's titled. You can look it up that way, or you can find it on my channel by going to playlist under my channel. And the most recent video I added, I'm pretty sure the most recent, was by Kent Hovind about that, about why there was light before the sun was created, specifically light enough to make day and night.
Well, and Rob Skiba and
It is very interesting to think of
Rob Skiba and Zen
that
Garcia.
light
Yeah.
being Jesus.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean,
Rob Skiba and Zen Garcia are
It's
doing
interesting.
exploration of Genesis together right now, and it's actually really fascinating because they hit on the exact same thing.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and it was like organically,
yeah,
just digging into it and studying cross parallel accounts of creation and everything.
hmm
Like, it's amazing how many of them point to that being the case.
So, for the record, anybody that doesn't know much about Hebrew and Aramaic study, it's really fascinating stuff. Aramaic and Hebrew are about as different as Spanish and English. There's probably certain linguists that think that that's a really retarded comparison, but to an English speaker, I think it's a close approximation
You have some
analogy.
new comments down there too.
Yes, I do. I'm always in it for the long haul. I put you on in my headphones. I'm at Walmart at the moment. Nice.
Very nice. You should put
Yeah.
on speakerphone in Walmart. Everyone wants to listen to us.
That would be
Everyone.
that would be really funny to put it on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's epic.
And then we'll say nothing of importance the entire time
Epico.
we're on speakerphone.
Okay, so Brad said 1,350 times question mark.
Yeah.
What was 1,350 times?
Where it says, and the Lord did this in the Old Testament, and it's supposed to say, and the word of the Lord did
okay,
this.
yeah. He said interesting number. And he also said Jesus wasn't born yet, though. Yeah, but the thing is, Jesus
existed well before he was born as
Yeah.
a human.
So Jesus was always.
Well, okay. Why would you say that, Brad? That. Are you saying that he didn't exist before he was born? Because it's an anomalous fact, but it's a fact that Jesus actually walked with Abraham. He took a journey and walked with him.
Well, I mean, certain people that wear tiny hats say that is how we violate the Noahide laws, is by believing that Jesus is God. I was reading that recently. The specific, I think I did it on a stream.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big things is I read on the Sanhedrin.org website that is the distinctive, that is the violation. The Sanhedrin, the Sanhedrin people will allow you to believe that Jesus is a Messiah, but they don't even want to say Jesus. They say that person, which I had a little bit of too much fun with in my stream, but because I called them those people. Did you hear that? Yeah, those people. I think it's hysterical, but I don't have any convictions about that word judo. But anyway, point being, they are okay with you saying a Messiah, which is confusing to me because it was pretty certain the prophecies never insinuated ever in any kind of possible way that there would ever be more than one Messiah. So I don't know why they would even say such a silly thing. But furthermore, it's a violation. It's idolatry according to the Sanhedrin to say that Jesus is and was and always will be God. What did Brad come back a violation. With? Is that Brad again? I was riffing about Jesus not being born yet. Off the dome here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So it was an ironic comment, not a literal comment. Got it.
And I mean, he had never been corporal before he was born.
It was definitely him in his spirit form, I would assume. or his
It did.
non-physical body able to do
Well, the
all
thing
the
is,
things that I guess it could have
again,
even been a physical body.
well, the thing is,
It just wasn't.
God is God,
Yeah.
and the concept of the Trinity goes beyond our understanding, and I believe it's supposed to,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and that's okay. It's like
He said, "Let's make man in our image,
not in our
not in
complete
our
intellect.
complete." Let's not give him the knowledge of good and evil.
He didn't
Yeah.
even, but I mean, there's obviously, if the tree of knowledge of good and evil was one of the trees, he probably didn't even make some of the other trees that would make people equal to him, because that is patently absurd. No, it was literal. I was just thinking about how he could light the universe and not be born yet. Okay, so about Jesus being the light of the world, but not being born yet. Well, it's God. It's God. So, whether you call him Jesus or the Holy Spirit, it's all the same thing. It's not like parts of God became more present or existent at a certain point of time. They were, I mean, all aspects of God, being the Holy Spirit and Jesus as well, are eternal. How do we know that? Well, we know that because of the words that Jesus said. Um, it's pretty clear as far as just basing it exactly on what Jesus said. So I think it's fascinating. I stumbled probably very briefly over the confusion there when I was in Hebrew class years ago now, about how there were days yeah, how there were days before the sun. One way that people explain that is that the earth was spinning. So a day is a day regardless of the presence of the sun. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. Oh, okay. But evening and morning, evening, Vahi Volker, Vahi Erev, Vahi Erev, Vahi Volker. I wondered. I knew she was making them, I just didn't know. What did she do?
Peppermint chocolate chip.
Oh, I wonder if she added chlorophyll or sprinkles. Huh.
Or peppermint chocolate chips.
Well, yeah, but the
Like a little
green.
Andes thing. Andes mint.
I don't think she did Andes. She likes Andes. I don't usually like Andes very much.
Really?
Yeah, I just think I'm not down with the cheap chocolate, but this is good. My wife made chocolate chip cookies. Don't be jealous. I think it's a sin. And when I say stuff like, I think it's a sin, not that I say stuff like that all the time, but I hope that most of my viewers are aware enough that I'm being facetious, tongue in cheek,
If your tongue's not inside your cheek, where else would it be?
in between my teeth.
Touche.
Touche. Yeah.
It's a fun exploration, though. The light thing.
Yeah. Yeah. He was just like, how could he have been the light of the universe?
Yeah.
But I'm like, God's there always, and Jesus was there too. And the question is always, how do you know that? You know that because that's what Jesus said.
It led me to the conclusion that I'm like, the source of light isn't the sun. It's just to rule the light. The sun's job is to rule the light, the day, and the moon's job is to rule the night. Like, that's their job. Like, they're not the sources of light. Like, well, they are, but they're not.
Well, nobody would argue with you that the moon is a source of light.
It is.
Nobody would argue with you that it is.
It is.
It's not a source, though.
Yes, it is.
You just literally said that the sun and the moon aren't sources,
Yeah.
and now you're arguing with me that it is a source.
But you're
not, though.
specifically saying that the moon.
Light doesn't emanate from the moon; it reflects off of the moon.
I don't believe that.
Well, you don't. You don't.
And science would have a hard time proving it too.
No.
The moon's light is cold. The sun's light is warm.
Hold the phone. The lunar cycle.
Cool. Okay. What does that have to do with the sun?
The Earth.
No, it doesn't.
It coincides.
I've seen the sun and the moon in the same horizon.
Of course.
And the
we all
light
have.
is not emanating from the sun.
What do you mean the light is not?
It's not like the moon, the light coming on the moon. Like the sun's here, the moon's here.
Mm-hmm.
The way the moon
We
is
all have.
lit has nothing to do with the sun.
That has to do with you perspective. It's perspective.
Yeah.
You got to draw it out, and you have to look at stuff at scale. If you look at stuff at scale, you start to go, "Oh, that's crazy." We can't. I mean, we spend our lives in these little 5-foot bodies, and we think that we can quickly and easily understand things like 8,000 miles, 300,000 miles, 197 million miles.
It just sounds insane.
How can we easily? So either that's all insane,
Well, you can actually,
or if there is truth to
you
it,
can actually,
you have to understand that if there is truth to it,
you can actually
it's incredibly hard to grasp.
semi-prove that the moon does produce its own light.
Not if there's a new moon, and you're telescoping and looking at the moon, but no light is reflecting off of it.
Or it's not there.
Oh, so you're saying the moon disappears, but you're looking at it?
Well,
Have
that
you
would
never seen
depend.
the new moon?
Yeah.
Okay, how? Okay.
But like,
So explain to me the new moon, as it's called, the new moon when it's completely black. How do you explain a lunar eclipse?
how do you explain light existing without the sun?
Well, stars and God.
It's the way that God made it to be. It's supposed to be a cycle. It's supposed to be a clock. But when
I hear what you're saying. If you think of the universe, especially in a static way. By the way, guys,
this is just an interesting conversation.
we've been thinking about this stuff for a while.
Yeah,
Brad, I think, left. I have a moon rock in my room. I use it as a nightlight. Okay, so I guess Brad did not leave. Somebody left.
that's hysterical, Brad. That is hysterical.
I use it as a nightlight.
That is hysterical. Oh, that could be the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. Oh, that's so good.
He's agreeing with you.
That's so good. Oh,
He's just agreeing with
I
you.
love it. I love it. Thank you, Brad.
I grew up
Thank you for
thinking
that.
it was cheese, guys.
Thank you for that.
So
that was amazing.
Don't listen to me.
Uh,
No, I mean, I try to understand these things in a logical manner.
but
I'm a skeptic.
well, this is where
I'm a skeptic, but I'm not. I'm a skeptic.
I get it. But
Thanks,
here's
Brad. Appreciate you.
you can actually take like a surface temperature thermometer, like with a laser that senses the temperature of things, right? And you can take a piece of paper or wood or whatever you want to, and go out in the moonlight, and you can actually measure the fact that the moon's beams shining on an object
Mm-hmm.
are colder than its shadow.
Thank you. Lovely gifts from my lovely wife. You're saying the light that the moon shines is colder than the shadow next to it.
Yes. So the moon
It's
actually
you're trying to say that it's negative energy somehow.
yes, or it just sheds cold light. Whereas the sun sheds hot heat, the moon brings cold. It's actually measurable. Like, people have done it. This is delicious.
If light is energy and energy is friction and friction is heat, that's really illogical. So one of those premises would have to be wrong. Or there's a phenomenon in the mix.
Or it's just the way that God made it.
Well,
It
yeah.
doesn't make sense based off the rules that we've been told exist.
Phenomenon, aka the
True.
way God made it.
True.
It's like when people like Owen say to say that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles and that we're not flinging off in outer space. That's just absurd. You'd have to be a retard to believe that. Or that's how God made it, and it just works because that's how God made it.
True.
Like, that argument... And
yeah, that's a straw man argument. It
the
doesn't
first
hold weight.
one.
The first, it's a straw man argument. It doesn't hold weight. In the same way...
Scientists really hate that because, like, you can pretty much say because God about everything. I'm like, because he made everything? But, I mean, I get what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Scientist. But on the other hand, he kind of made everything, so it is our explanation for everything.
On the same flip side, you can just say gravity and it explains everything. So, I mean...
True. Or spooky particle.
Right.
It's the Higgs particle. It explains everything. The theory of everything.
What is the Higgs particle? Don't know. Next question. What is gravity? Don't know. Next question.
I mean,
you gotta have an answer somewhere, guys. Like,
hey, we're back up to 2.
Sweet. What's up, second person? Nice to meet you.
It's the most advanced green screen ever.
So much so that I can reach through other dimensions and grab the same cookies.
I forgot about that. His wife made him cookies too. I don't even think you're casting a shadow on my background.
I'm not.
It really does look like you're an overlay.
What kind of sorcery is this?
It is hysterical.
Oh, you're so...
We're up to 3 viewers.
3.
What's happening?
Welcome whoever you are.
Yeah,
Please
welcome.
stay. Hang out with us.
Let's
talk about some crazy stuff.
We did have 8 earlier, and then we start talking about. Well, everybody had to go to bed because one of them it was like 3:30.
Yeah.
And then other people, date night. I'm just kidding. But anyway, where was I at? Oh yeah, we were talking about the moon.
Gravity, or just logical fallacies, really.
All right, so I'll show this because I don't think they'll I'm not monetized, so most of anything I do on my channel doesn't really matter.
Right.
But I did want to show this.
It was funny. They actually shut down my
chart to you
AdSense
guys.
account and sent me a check.
Oh, you got ads stuff?
Oh, my old YouTube channel? Yeah.
Your old YouTube channel?
Yeah.
How many thousand views and stuff did you have?
I've worked up about $80 in revenue. I don't know what that equates to.
That should be 80,000 views.
Yeah.
According to the...
I had...
$1 per 1,000 is the rough estimate that I've heard over and over.
I had about... I want to say about 1,200 to 1,300 subscribers on that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just made dumb video game videos. That's all I did.
Celebrity.
I made dumb video game videos, guys. That's what I did on my other channel.
All right. He is a source of light too. Of course, he wouldn't cast a shadow. Oh, you're a source of light.
I'm friends with you. Whoever you are. You were friends.
It's Whistleboy.
Oh.
Brad.
No more Whistleboy, huh?
He also has a YouTube channel.
I know.
It's pretty cool. He's an
Excuse
epic producer. He knows how to do good artwork and stuff.
You got good videos.
All right, I want to share this screen with you because it's interesting.
It is interesting. Also delusional, but interesting.
Also delusional.
Guys.
It's plausible.
Guys.
It's at least plausible.
300,000 miles.
So there's funny stats about our universe, or solar system rather, supposedly.
Well, all the 666s are one thing.
Yeah.
There's a ton of those in there.
So here we go. You see the word Hubble. You see this chart, how it stops at 20,000 miles. 20,000 is like right here, so that's 30,000, and that's 40,000. You see my mouse? I know you do. And this is 50,000. Well, 250,000 extra miles off screen is where the moon is at.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
According to science.
Yeah. Of course. So then here's the Hubble. And as you see, it's a tiny little notch outside of the Earth orbit. So according to this very well, I mean, if this is accurate, then it actually very well supports the rationale why.
They can't just turn the Hubble telescope around and take a picture of the Earth.
Because it's too close to get a good perspective. It's pretty obviously too close if you look at the perspective here.
It's only...
The International Space Station is so close to Earth.
It's only like 7.5 million miles higher than you would fly a plane.
No, what? No.
75 million?
No, it was 1.7 million
feet.
Feet.
I'm sorry.
It's
1.7 million feet higher than you would fly a plane.
The Hubble telescope is 1.73 million feet in the air. And then they have pictures, supposedly. And it,
that's what I found the most funny.
So it's weird.
Like, they have this perfect picture of, like, the Hubble telescope, like, over this bank of clouds.
Oh.
And I'm like,
Well,
you could actually just show them the picture.
Look at this.
Legitimately.
GPS orbit. So, hypothetically, that would be the orbit of GPS satellites? Is that what they're claiming here?
I would assume, yeah. Way farther than the Hubble telescope.
Way further in the 16,000, between 16 and 17,000 range miles.
Seems a little absurd, but okay.
Well, I mean, look at that's that blue. Let me hover both over this. That blue line or that blue dot. I know you can't see my hand, but
and supposedly
the blue,
Galileo.
No, is supposedly the GPS satellites.
Oh, that one's purple.
But blue. GPS is blue.
Well, it's got GPS highlighted as purple. This purple line. Are you colorblind? Am I colorblind? It looks purple to me.
It's next to red, so I don't know. You guys make up your own
mind. It does
mind.
look blue next to the red, but it's definitely purple if you look at the bluish one. Either way, sure, that one. Gotcha.
I don't know.
I'm colorblind.
You haven't flown? No.
Huh?
It's funny, you're in the Air Force, but you don't have to worry about flying planes.
No, I don't fly planes. Yeah. I work in cyber.
Anyway, if you look at the perspective of that blue dot that's circling around the Earth, it's got a full, easy ability to see the entire, an entire hemisphere of the Earth at any one time. Whereas anything inside of the Van Allen belt, it would be literally impossible to view the entire hemisphere.
Not just that, but
at
like
one time.
The Van Allen This is kind of the part that doesn't make any sense to me. Is that anything outside the Van Allen radiation belts, how is it communicating?
Because I don't. Here's what I think, and I talked about this in one of my videos. My theory about the whole like videos that talk about the Van Allen belt, no, the danger. I really think that space. I don't mean this to be disrespectful to God's creation by any means, but
what was that?
I don't know. It was weird. I didn't get a donation or something. Unfortunately, I'm just kidding. No, I think that certain aspects of space. I'll put it this way. I think that certain aspects of space, specifically the tiny, minute, embarrassingly low amount of knowledge that we have about space. I actually think that the Van Allen belt is nowhere near as scary, dangerous, or anything as they put out my theory is that they sensationalize this stuff in order to make themselves look cooler than they actually are. In order to mask their limited, minute knowledge, they have to inflate what really is in order to make themselves feel better, because they really don't know what in the world they're talking about. That's my theory. And
it's either that or they're wrong and they've been lying about all of it all along.
yeah, these things are possible.
Yeah. Which is the side I chose to take.
I know. I'll see if I can show you the picture though. It was over here somewhere. Nope, not there.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the Hubble?
This one?
Nope.
Yeah, this is the one.
Nope.
No, it's not.
That's the one of the
TrueSat.
obviously fake Earth.
Might have been this one.
Nope. This is probably the next one over, I think.
That's an organization that's
Nope.
putting. Yeah,
Keep
this
going.
was the one. This was the one.
Yeah. There you go.
So this is,
Okay.
and this is the question that we have, and I'm sure one of you or somebody can answer this. How does one get a picture of a satellite? How do you get close enough to a satellite to take a picture?
That's a telescope, though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Satellite is a word that just means something that's like orbiting. So, like this paper plate could be a satellite, hypothetically. This napkin or Kleenex could be a satellite.
What is satellite? What is the word satellite, actually?
Probably comes from Saturn, which is the whole thing about its ring.
I think I heard this one time. Satellite it means something crazy. I don't remember what it was. Either way, but anyways, like look at the picture, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a. I thought it was kind of unbelievable at first because of the clouds and everything. I'm like, that's that much higher.
Okay, so look. Okay, so there's the Hubble picture. You see that, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like so close to the clouds.
That one looks about what I would believe that the Hubble telescope was.
As far as distance.
Distance-wise.
But look at this. Look at scale. This is like 400 feet, 600 feet, just this right here. That's a shuttle.
Yeah, but that could be a small shuttle. And plus, it's got all of its afterburners and everything.
This is the ISS.
Oh.
That is probably okay. Maybe not 400 feet. You guys somebody out there knows way better about how tall the.
Well, either way, go back to the picture of the.
But this is a window. You know that right there, that little guy right there is 6 feet right there, or 4 feet. I mean, that's their window.
Sure.
So I mean, it is at least 100 feet long, at least.
Sure.
So this is a 250-foot span.
If it's not a model. If it's not a model.
So what were you saying? Go back?
Yeah, go back to the
I
other.
wanted to see this one.
What the heck is that?
AMSAT Oscar 7.
Amateur radio?
Yeah, so here's the thing. There's an entire website devoted to amateur satellites that are in space for the purposes of amateur radio. People that have somehow, I don't know how that works. Amateur satellites. I don't.
Sure.
I don't understand it. AMSAT, North America, is the owner operator. Civil though, right? It's non-governmental, so I don't really get it.
So, anyways, in this picture, I originally started out by saying like the clouds look way too close. Like I feel like that's a perspective that I've seen from a plane before, you know. And then like the obvious question hit me like, what's taking this picture?
Yeah. It is a good question, but what took that picture?
Yeah, like
that's
what,
the ISS.
what is that
but
close
the
to
thing.
the ISS that is taking that picture?
Here's the other thing. What is that close? Without atmosphere, or rather with extremely limited atmosphere at that height, 1.7 million feet. By the way, you all can do the math, but like we're talking about 370 miles is about 370 miles up. Is where the Hubble is, 367, I believe. The ISS is, not far too different than that. Anyway, it's interesting, and I was just doing some satellite reading, and there's this website, active-satellites.webflow.io. And I tried to click this, but it literally doesn't work, which is kind of sad and annoying because it was built with Webflow, whatever in the world that is. TrueSat is an organization developed for the purpose of individually tracking, like civilians tracking satellites by getting.
But this was funny. Let's scroll down real quick.
What?
Space debris is a problem.
So this is a problem. Okay, this is a problem. The fact that here's the thing. I think that there's way more satellites than they're telling us there are, or something else is going on, because
I would go with something else.
the fact
but
when we did the math, I was pulling up we got 8,000 miles diameter, right? And then you add the 700 miles additional diameter for the 350 and 350 miles to the Hubble. Okay, so I wanted to find out what the surface area, what the actual globular surface area would be of the 350 miles up where most of the satellites are, right? So I was just trying to get a very minimal number. What was it, 200 and something billion? Was it 200 something billion square miles?
I want to say it was like 300 something.
It was in the 200 or 300 billion square miles range. Square miles. Regardless, even if it was a billion square miles, what we're talking about compared to 1,200 satellites that take up what 1/100,000th or at least 1,000th of a square mile.
It's laughable.
I don't even understand.
Even if you multiplied it by 9, like it's still laughable. Like it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't make any sense that there's a fear, and once again, potentially supports my theory that they just want hype so that they can get more money to do their secret
squirrel black budget projects.
I mean, I have a theory that NASA is more advanced and has more stuff going on than Area 51, DARPA, and Boston Dynamics could ever dream of in their...
And I have a theory that NASA is literally just a government black hole project.
Yeah, but the money does something. It has to go...
Well, yeah, it goes into their black budget projects.
But yeah.
I mean, obviously it goes to people's salaries and
means.
research.
Me being one of them. What is black? What does that mean, though?
The different...
What does that result in? What is the end? What is the result in? What is an example of something that would result in?
Black budget?
Yeah.
Okay. So 9/11.
Okay, that's a good example. Except...
somebody had to plan, engineer, strategize the whole 9 yards.
Well,
I apologize to anyone that still thinks that 9/11 is actually something that was a terrorist attack. I apologize. If you're watching this channel and you're one of those people, though, like, I really don't. You
have a lot to learn.
You have a lot to learn.
Seriously, it's not a tongue-in-cheek. That's serious. It's
but
unquestionable.
Like, somebody had to engineer and strategize.
So, for instance, because I had this curiosity, I didn't understand why an insurance company would willingly participate in their financial demise because...
Well, who said the insurance company had to be in on it?
I think that they'd have to be in on it because otherwise...
The guy opened up the insurance policy like 4 or 5 days before they imploded.
So what if... Well, so we know, but what if it was underway long before that? All I'm saying, what if also black budget stuff goes to filter back to... it's okay. Your company is going to be fine. We've got you. What if there's even like extra layers of support?
Oh, so you're saying like the guy that owns the insurance company knows he's going to get a kickback from the black budget. It's already covered.
Exactly.
So they're just funneling the money back into where it came from in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Because, I mean, at the top, they're all connected anyway. So, like...
But somebody like, what's his name, that owned the building lease.
Right.
He might not have... He might just have been another puppet.
Could have been.
It was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
money.
But like the
Sorry, I did my hands wrong.
private the experiments that they do on people, like the psyches, the
So
undercover agents, like
MK Ultra,
MK Ultra type stuff,
Black
like
budget.
paying, like
Okay,
it's all black budget. It's never
gotcha.
on anyone's official book, so there's no official record of it. But the money's coming from somewhere. It's
Gotcha.
coming. You know what I mean? Like that's
All right, so
black budget projects.
here we go.
But I mean, obviously NASA does stuff. Like
I sent you a
they
link.
build space. They build spacecraft. Like,
Oh, that's what that noise was.
regardless of whether or not it's
Yeah.
actually going somewhere, they still build the spacecrafts. They still launch them. They still build this stuff. Like they still spend hundreds of millions of dollars researching nonsense. Like I'm not like, you know, I could be 100% wrong. It could be a globe and everything is it's just hunky dory and there actually is crap out there. I don't have any idea. Like it just doesn't, like, the farther, like, the government tells me it's true, I'm prone to disbelieve it. Like that's just the way I am now.
Yeah, that I've been to the Hubble stuff.
I feel like the proof of burden is now on the other people to prove it to me,
Yeah,
not the other way
there's a
around.
lot of
Like,
that for sure.
like prove to me that it is a globe.
He said
like,
21,000. I'm sorry. Aliens took the pics of the ISS and sent them to us via Facebook Messenger. Oh man. Yeah.
you're not wrong. That's a good theory.
21,000 objects larger than 10 centimeters orbiting the Earth. Based on the square miles, scoot over a little bit.
Well,
based on the square miles,
I've said for ages too, while we're on the topic of aliens, that one of two things is true about the moon missions. They either faked it in a lab here because of the fact that they actually made it to the moon and were so terrified by what they found there that they buried it. They're like, no, we're never going back there. Like, that's plausible.
What if the only thing that was faked about the moon landings was the audio recording? What if the video recording was actually not live, but like, you know, there's no reason that nothing matches up between the audio and the video, really and truly. You just put your mind does the work.
Does the link, yeah.
So they could have, because everybody's talking about, well, they could
yeah.
never. So it could have been 15 minutes delayed, the video, right? And
or
the audio could have just been pre-recorded.
They could have put on a tape recorder when they were already back. Like, you don't have any idea. Like, they could have.
Oh, it could have been weeks ago.
Yeah, it could have been. They could have happened.
And they could have voiced over.
Ago, yeah.
But all I'm saying is there's a lot of evidence based on the moon walk and stuff like that, based on the science of physics and the math, that points to that being authentic video of non-Earth.
Well, as far as we know, we don't actually have any idea to compare it to.
They could have used magic to film.
Well, I mean that, but I mean...
They could not have used CG.
Before the moon landing, I mean, there was a Nazi, a scientist, a film director, and a script writer that all met. Like, I don't know, it's pretty...
It's weird, but it could have been related to audio. I don't know, either.
Yeah.
But what I do know is the tails, the dust tails from the tires. I joked around about them having. They would have had to have put nanotubing wire on each and every dust particle to mimic the physics behind. It's called rat tails or whatever. What's it called? Somebody knows the name. I forget what. When the tires spin and kicks up dust.
This does kind of go into your theory that NASA actually has crazy technology far beyond what everybody else has, in the fact of saying that they could have had the ability to produce CGI in that day.
They found Hitler on the moon. Area 51 is nothing, LOL. I'm almost positive. If they didn't want you to know about what they're doing...
Area 51 is an Air Force base.
You wouldn't have even heard of where it happens. Correct. And that's why most people don't know much about... Svalbard. Why is Svalbard holding, besides its climate, why is Svalbard holding a repository of all of Earth's life? They have supposedly multiple seeds for almost every plant on the planet.
Svalbard?
In Svalbard.
Yeah.
It's kind of
interesting tidbit.
Yeah. Um,
But I could, like, I'll buy into your NASA's got crazy technology and has for ages. Like,
yeah, well, here's okay. So back to the hidden in plain sight thing. We've been watching this show, Eureka, and they've dropped different jokes. It's all the smartest people in the world convened in this tiny town in like Oregon or Washington.
right? It's like a producer of super high intelligent people, right?
Yeah. So basically, anyway, they either grew up there or whatever. It's all geniuses.
Yeah, everybody, any genius that ever existed, it comes from Eureka.
And they invented the microwave and the computer and all these different things. All came from technology that was developed in Eureka. It's a funny TV show. It's not bad. I haven't watched the whole thing. It's decent. But anyway, one of the things that they said was, and they pretend to make it a secret that the main character of the show isn't allowed to know this thing, that they went to the moon several times before the moon landing, just to do reconnaissance or whatever. But anyway, it's just part of the ha ha ha. No, we wouldn't multiple times. Anyway, so it's things like that that you're like, yeah. I mean, this is just a stupid TV show that was written by one of those people. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how many times do they throw things in your face?
That's just part of programming as well, and
Or like,
desensitization.
in the Chili Peppers video where they like actually run through the set of them being on the moon landing or whatever.
Those guys are.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. Like,
yeah, because I just don't want to get my. I don't want to get my justification for what I believe from
the Chili Peppers.
I don't want to get it from NASA or National Geographic. I don't want to get it from a musician. And we, I mean, part of the reason that we can get along and everything is because we conclude on the things that matter far more than these silly topics. These silly topics are good because we enjoy mental exercise.
Yeah.
We enjoy challenging ourselves to conceive other alternatives, but we maintain certain
at the end of the day, my lens for truth comes from the Bible, so like the rest of it's irrelevant. It's just a fun mental exercise. At the end of the day, when I die and I stand in front of God or Jesus comes back first, I'm gonna figure all the rest of it out anyway. So it'll be like, oh, I was either right about that or I was hilariously wrong about that. Okay, it's irrelevant in the long run. It's just fun though. Yeah, you're right. It's just fun mental exercise.
So, NASA developed Adobe After Effects to fake the moon landing in the 60s.
Well, I mean, if NASA has literally been that far ahead on technology for ages,
They either had that's the fact. That is a fact. They either had more than enough technology to do 3 decades early movie editing with just the most tremendous computing power possible to mimic the mathematical nature. Like, it's just the trigonometry
but
involved.
Like on the flip side too, we also believe that they went to the moon with less technology than it takes to run your freaking smartphone today.
And I think that's I actually think that's plausible. Think about the people that built think about Da Vinci. He was designing helicopters before anything nearly remotely similar to that was. Think about Jules Verne. Think underwater travel, air travel, internet, Skype, all the things that Jules Verne wrote about. Was that a spiritual revelation, or was he just imaginative?
Yeah, the demons were just talking.
Maybe, but what I'm saying is, think about somebody that could have created, all the gliders that people made over
Icarus?
Huh?
Icarus.
What, is that a Greek guy?
You don't know the story of Icarus? Icarus, he made himself
No,
wings.
It sounds like Ichabod to me.
It made himself wings.
Icarus, okay.
From wax.
Sounds like a Greek fellow.
Yeah, it was a Greek story.
Okay.
But it was a child's tale.
Okay.
Icarus made himself wings so that he could fly like a bird because he wanted to fly.
Okay.
And so he got him to work or whatever. He made himself these awesome wings of wax, and he actually got airborne and was flying and riding the currents and everything. And he got too close to the sun and he melted and he died.
Oh.
Icarus is flying too close to the sun.
Hmm. Yeah, that would mess some people's theories up pretty bad. Which part of this? Two truths and a lie. Which part of the story is true? Well, that's crazy that you didn't know that story. Thanks. I'm a crazy guy. Crazy. Totally crazy. I also.
But you said gliders, and it just reminded me of Icarus. So.
Well, yeah. All I'm saying is, oh, they go to the moon and back with less technology. I mean, people have done crazier things with
I'll see that point.
No technology at all.
But my point in saying that would be that,
for instance,
if it's plausible,
for instance,
this is
not
following...
the pyramids. I'm talking about the people that built homes in the side of mountains, carved into the side of mountains in South Asia.
Yeah.
Stuff like that that's been around for like 1,500 years, 2,500 years, and it's just like, but well, how?
But this is what I'm saying.
But how did they do that?
This is what I'm saying. It's just
without
as
power tools.
It's just as plausible if you're going to say that NASA had the ability to fake the moon landing with crazy computer technology.
That's what that's
just
my
as
argument.
Plausible on the opposite side that they had advanced technology to guide their instrumentation, and that it wasn't actually less computing power than...
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing.
I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna follow that
logical... video of that guy, this has been, and I don't know if I said this to you directly, but I've done it on stream several times. When you base your argument for why not to believe somebody on the testimony of that person only, that seems really counterintuitive to me.
Yeah.
So Owen kept on showing these videos of NASA scientists that were like, oh, we'd love to go back to the moon, but you see, we lost it. So you're going to tell me that they're all... That was the
director.
Yeah.
That was the director of NASA that had that interview.
I know.
And I'm like, who let that guy in front of a microphone?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you don't trust NASA, why are you trusting NASA? Has been my thing that I've kept on saying.
I mean, that's... Yeah.
If you don't trust NASA, then why are you trusting NASA to not trust NASA? Therefore, it's a circular reasoning kind of thing that's like, what exactly is your basis for not trusting NASA? Well, because I listened to NASA.
They're liars.
How do you know that? Based on the fact that they said what they said?
The testimony of a liar.
Yeah, but then
I believe that he's lying because he's lying.
But then he's lying about what you think that he's telling the truth about. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. It breaks down. Yeah. Oh, he's a liar. Well, then he's lying about them losing and destroying the information. That's a lie. So why are you believing that that's the truth, but all the other stuff is a lie? When there's
wait.
There's actually way more to back up all of the stuff.
The validity of it would be...
I have said over and over again,
is telling the truth to you.
I think it's absurd to say that he's telling the truth now, but never was at any other time. I mean, yes, there are people that change their mind. They have a come to Jesus moment, and they're like, listen, it was all a farce. But that's not what he said. It wasn't that mode. It's more like what's really going on here. I've said over and over again that I believe that there will be people, there's already people, but it will be commonly believed that the Holocaust never happened. Now, there's those people.
Yeah, that's actually happening.
Those people certainly will try their best to prevent that from ever happening. But here's the counterintuitive.
Well, because it's counterintuitive to their directions.
Here's the sad thing. As hard as you try, the more you put it in movies, the more you program, the more it becomes less real. And that's a potential backfiring that could happen. But not just that, not just the Holocaust, 9/11. I think that there will come a point in time, and it's already turning to that degree, where people will say, oh no, that never even happened. Yeah, I know people died, supposedly. It won't. I think it will be in our lifetime, just like in the lifetime of the people that were survivors of the Holocaust, that people will say 9/11 that was fake. Not just fake. It like literally never even those buildings were never even there. That was just pretend. But it's in this movie, and this yeah, CG. I wholeheartedly believe that one day they will say that nope, there was no explosion, there was no damage, all that video, it's just all because of the nature of
And
how
they'll actually turn the tables too, because they'll use all the stuff that the conspiracy theorists use now
yeah
to say that it was an inside attack to prove that it was all fake to begin with.
Yeah.
Because you can see the plane flying through the building and like
it's the
it's
nature
CGI.
of how
You can obviously tell it's CGI. Like the building's glitching right there. Like
exactly.
dead serious. Like
I know that's kind of what I'm saying. So I'm saying it's dangerous when you start understanding sociology and you start understanding history about how people. I know I'm getting off camera a little bit, but he said 9/11 was exaggerated. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what that means. If the number of people that died, which it seems very reasonable to believe that there's no exaggeration about who died, that's terrible. Now, who's to blame? We most of us know that we blamed the wrong person or people. By the way, hello Daniel, welcome. We're up to 5 again.
5?
Yeah, just like
What?
So welcome Daniel.
What? How low?
Daniel Gordon said 6 mil is exaggerated.
6 million. Yeah, exactly. 6 million people died in 9/11.
No, dude, it's 80. It's the fact that
80,000.
It's the fact that over 80 million people died during the World War II thing. It's the fact that over
reported.
80 million people died.
Reported.
Okay.
Yeah.
Between 74 and 80.
Could be exaggerated. We don't know.
That's way bigger than 6.
Yes.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So even if it was 40, 34 is way bigger than 6. But it's probably, maybe it was 80. But if it was 80 or if it was 50 or if it was 20,
130.
all of those numbers are far more massive. And I went through on one of my streams the other day and
I watched part of that one.
Pointing out, I was like, dude, random countries, China, and crimes against humanity. These weren't like people that were like trying to shoot people and they got shot. These were like innocent, which we all know that nobody is actually innocent, but unintended.
Freaking Hitler from his moon base.
Unintended collateral damage of people that died as a result of anyway, way more people than the Holocaust. It's just it's very strange. It's very strange that there's such a massive discrepancy between the number 6 and all the massive numbers of other people that died, and that's what gets focused on. That's the only thing I'm saying about that. Anyway, that NASA guy said we could go to the moon in a nanosecond.
You're on point tonight, man.
You are pretty hilarious. Except I'm not really into the Bader talk. Just Bader Ginsburg. I'm not into that. I think she's probably.
You know what I thought was
she was
the
never
most
alive.
hilarious as we were talking
Not
about
only is
politics
she
yesterday?
dead, Ruth Bader Ginsburg never even lived. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm not being
She's not
serious.
real. She's actually a clone.
Maybe. Well, if she comes
Martha
back
Stewart.
to life and they pull that lady back into the public limelight, clone, guaranteed. What were you gonna say?
It was funny that we were talking about politics yesterday, just how the insanity of politics or whatever. And like last night, my stepdad was like, he turned on the TV or whatever, and he was watching like updates in presidential elections or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hysterical to me that Elizabeth Warren
Is the number one front runner?
leading candidate for the Democrats right now.
It's
and
a
I'm
joke.
like, Joe Biden has like 12% favorability.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It's intentional that they want Trump to win again.
You're gonna put Elizabeth Warren up against, like, he destroyed Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden couldn't even win against Hillary Clinton to get, like, he was their strongest candidate. Like, Joe Biden was their strongest candidate, and he's not even winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's an embarrassment. Like the whole thing is just almost laughable.
I don't understand.
And I apologize to any of you who still think that politics matter, because I don't think that politics matter at all.
Up into including voting.
Up into and including voting.
But what about local politics?
Sure, it's all still It might matter more, but
City
probably
or like your
less.
school board.
It probably matters less than you think,
I don't know. I
but
think if
more than
you're
the
the
presidential,
sheriff,
but more than the presidential election.
if you're the sheriff of this town that I live in here,
Yeah.
I think that you're going to impact your neighborhood decently. Or a good sheriff hypothetically is going to be a better mood for the neighborhood as opposed to a
I would say that
crooked sheriff.
local politics are probably less.
There are still way too much meddling from the big government. Obviously,
They're less impactful, but probably more real.
more real. Is that what you said?
Yes.
More real. He said, Daniel Gordon said, he lied about going to the moon and destroying the technology because they never went and there wasn't technology. That is logically consistent in regards to they were always liars and he continued to lie. But believing a liar seems to be like dangerous. That's my only argument. I get it. That's funny.
You're responding to
That's funny, but I'm just poking holes in why are you trusting in a liar? Because a liar lies. If they are a liar in the first place, that is. But liars lie, and if they're a liar, then you shouldn't be saying, well, this is true though. They destroyed the technology, and I get that you're saying, oh, they didn't destroy the technology because they never went, and that's funny.
That's actually a better argument than most.
I agree, actually.
But it's actually a better argument than most.
It is.
But if you're responding to the fact that what I was saying earlier about them having like the logical fallacy of saying that like they never had the technology or they had the technology to fake it is literally the exact same as saying that they had the more advanced
Read
technology
between
to
the
be able
lines.
to go to the
Take
moon.
a listen. I'd go to the.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do it just for Don Petite, NASA astronaut. Why did you say director? I think that
he was the director. Don Petite was the director.
I don't know. Let's see. What was Don Petite? Don Petite, without an E, NASA. Whoops, 2 S's. And by the way, I've explained before, NASA is a different word than NASA. Don't do that silliness. I don't like it.
NASA, yeah.
It's a different word. It's a different letter. Sh and sa, they're 2 different letters. I'm sorry. It's shin and sin. There are 2 different letters in the Hebrew.
NASA's oldest active astronaut. Okay, that's what it was then.
Okay, so you read.
Yeah.
6-week expedition. Blah blah blah. And he also has done some Antarctica stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely not a Mason.
Nice. I think it's pronounced
Pettit.
Pettit. Oh, that's pretty funny. Oh man, Brad is.
You are on point tonight,
dude,
man.
Listen,
you're savage.
Brad, you're on your way to becoming a true. You're bringing back what it meant to be a late night comedy show, but you're doing good.
It's amazing. Stay on point, man. Like
It's
you're
really
like
fun.
the guy on Jimmy Fallon that is like off to the side and he just says way more funny stuff
actual
than
funny
Jimmy
guy.
Fallon.
All right, so we'll play this little clip just for kicks and giggles.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond.
it's just
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. He actually said that.
for reference. I am still in the camp of believing that we did go to the moon.
In a nanosecond.
And not in a nanosecond. And I have reasons to believe that, but it's mostly logical reasons, not practical reasons. Just so you know.
The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
Does this guy look stable? Did you guys see this guy's face?
It looks about as stable as the time that what's his name?
Not Neil
Armstrong. Buzz Aldrin. Like he's like in the Trump video, and Trump's like, we're going back to the moon. And he's like,
he doesn't look stable.
Nah.
I think that there are.
Well, it's because they're Masons and they've been drinking too much goat blood or whatever.
So it could be Masonic stuff, but it could also be effects of you know,
Not
maybe
having enough
maybe
oxygen
his
in their brains.
brain got fried from the Van Allen belts. I
That-
don't know.
Real. They tried to go through the Van Allen belts and they fell into the ocean.
So
Or maybe he's been on one too many spacecraft that landed in the ocean.
I don't understand why they even do this kind of stuff because it only adds
To
them
the
doing
ridiculousness of it.
fake pictures and fake stuff only adds to the reason for people to not believe that anything is real. It's
our
not
solar system.
it's not very nice or helpful.
The only limit to a human future is in our own imaginations.
Oh yes, that's somebody that sounds very
He's put together.
respectable.
He's put together.
I mean, I'm just saying in general.
I would trust everything that guy says. He went to the moon in a nanosecond.
If you don't trust NASA, don't trust NASA.
And I don't. I trust NASA.
I think I told you about this channel. I'll share it with you guys.
You gotta play the Buzz Aldrin video real fast. It just makes me laugh so hard every time.
So this is a good channel though. Have you ever heard of it? Wait a second. There it is. Vintage Space. Vintage Space. And she actually does a really good job. And she's trying to do the debunking the conspiracy theories.
She's trying to debunk conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
That's a deep rabbit hole. Even deeper than the conspiracy theories themselves.
As to why debunkers even exist.
Yeah. Like it's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like you already think somebody's crazy and you're gonna spend time trying to prove them not crazy, it makes you sound crazy. Most people would just be like, yeah, you're just crazy. What are you trying to prove by disproving somebody that's crazy?
I don't know, man. A lot of people spend time
I know, a ton.
trying to prove
They're
what they believe.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Dude,
Like,
people try to prove that
you're
heaven
crazy.
exists. People
Like,
try to prove that God exists. People try to prove that the earth is round, that the earth is flat. People try to prove what they believe because they want validation. It's just part of human nature.
I think people just want to argue.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Except I was going to try and argue with you just then, but I just can't really think anything right now. All right, 6 mil. There are made up fake names on the 9/11 memorial. That sucks. I mean, because I know at least by the second degree, I know people that died.
Hey, you want to do something fun today? Go, oh man, never mind. I'm not going to put this bug in your brain today, but I will one day.
Stalin was worse and he was on our side.
Yeah, that's true. Stalin was way worse than Hitler.
Ginsburg is a political LARP of Weekend at Bernie's. Exactly. Live action. The live action role play acronym has to be. It's one of the good ones. It's one of the good ones. He said we had.
I'm gonna guess that was Brad.
But we destroyed it. No, the LARP comment was actually Daniel Gordon.
Daniel Gordon, that's a good one. You get 2 gold stars for that one.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
All right, so I'll.
But
you keep talking.
There
I'll look
is
up
a website out there that you can actually go and type in your the number that's on your birth certificate, and you can see who owns you.
That's like looking up how many Rogans tall you are, in my opinion. I just I just I don't know.
The collateral.
I think they don't need. Here's my point. I don't think they need it. They don't need your social security to own you. The system owns you because
it's
of
not your social security number. It's your birth certificate number.
Okay, well, 6 in one, half dozen the other. But Gene Wilder was alive.
Your birth certificate is literally just a bank account, or your social security number.
So they say, but you can't get anything from it.
No,
that's for sure.
You can't get anything from
it. Here's the thing. The only reason we have money is because of debt. Fiat money, that is. Fiat money can't exist without debt. They have to make more debt has to exist for them to make more money.
The Bretton Woods agreement.
The what?
The Bretton Woods agreement.
I don't know.
This is why our money's actually worth something right now.
Which money?
Our money. The U.S. dollar.
Is worth or is not?
Is.
But how? I thought it was essentially worthless.
No, it's because it's tied to oil. All oil-bearing countries right now buy and sell oil in U.S. dollars. The Bretton Woods Agreement is what set that up. It's what got us out of a lot of
What year?
collapse. Look up Bretton Woods. Okay, well, no. First, let's do the buzz hole. Yeah, I gotta see the buzz hole.
What's another keyword? Trump speech.
Yeah.
I hate how I misspell speech every time.
Yeah, here we go. The first one right there.
Is that going to be the one?
Yeah. Oh, his face. Yeah.
All right. Reacting to Trump makes internet go wild. On demand news. He's senile. Look at his face at the get-go. All right, here we go, guys. I mean, just look at his face. He's not okay. I mean, this guy's not okay either.
Look at the guy in the back smiling. Like,
this guy's not okay. This guy,
he's got it pretty well together.
he's paying attention.
He's psycho.
This guy
Look at his eyes. Look at the dude behind Pence's eyes.
What, this?
Oh my! I think he's got mascara on.
No, he's got glasses on, dude. He's got glasses like me.
Okay.
Like frameless.
He still looks like a crazy
rimless.
person. He
This
looks like
guy
Emperor Palpatine.
Said, my wife told me to pick up milk on my way home. If I forget that, I am not going to be in good shape.
Look at the guy all the way in the corner.
And this guy, you
Yeah.
know, he's like, I could have been president if I had just applied myself. No, I probably couldn't. And this guy actually looks, you can only see half of his face,
But
but
he actually looks like a pretty
like-
smart dude.
this old guy back here, he's like, oh, Trump. Would you look at that?
And that guy
Never
next to
thought I'd
him
see
is
the
trying
day.
to be Ted Cruz.
Which one's Ted Cruz? This one?
The one behind the dude that forgot the milk.
Oh.
This guy back here. He's trying to be Ted
Yeah,
Cruz.
yeah, something like that. All right, here we go. We've done our commentary. Actually, let me read a comment, and then I'll play it. No debt, no money. Thank you. How can the Federal Reserve charge interest on $100 if they only print $100 debt?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I just try to just distance yourself from the system is the main point.
Yeah.
Again, this guy, what is he even looking at?
He's dead.
That
He's a
reporter, he's thinking about some reporter in the, but this guy,
He's lost.
guys,
Going to be a very big factor with respect to
I mean, he's already making not micro expressions. These are huge facial movements. Anyway,
space and space exploration. At some point in the future, we're going to look back and say, how did we
he probably has gas. You know how they talk about like a newborn, some of you are parents. Oh, actually, a lot of you
Why
are
is the
parents.
dude in the back still grimacing?
No,
though?
this guy is out of control.
If anybody has gas, it's him.
So here's the thing. They do, oh, look, our 2-month-old baby is smiling. No, your 2-month-old baby is, okay, not 2 months, maybe like, I don't know, 1 month. They're not smiling at you. They're having gas. And most parents, especially ones that have multiple children, realize that there is a point in time where the child
I'm
transitions
convinced that
into
the guy
having,
behind Mike Pence is a demon.
what, this guy?
This guy, his eyes are so creepy.
Dude, you can't see the glasses?
He's got glasses, but his eyes are so creepy.
Oh my
do it without space?
oh my gosh, that's a huge expression.
The future of American space leadership. We're going to lead again. It's been a long time. It's over 25 years. Today we're taking a crucial step to secure America's future in space.
Look, I think he's about to diarrhea all over himself.
Just keep watching.
His hands,
It gets so
his
much
hands,
better.
his hands moved. That's bodily discomfort. Now there are multiple explanations for this.
Okay,
but
keep going,
Reviving
keep
the
going.
National Space Council after it has been dormant almost 25 years, if you can believe it. Today's announcement sends a clear signal to the world that we are restoring America's proud legacy of leadership in space. We're going to look back and say, how did we do it without space? Vice President will serve as the
Oh, you gotta look up the one where like, oh, he's in the crowd.
Yeah,
He's
I
in the
know what you're
crowd.
talking
That
about.
one, his face, like, and his whole face is just like this. He's just that was the one where he's like this. He's just like,
Oh no, yeah, I know,
and he like shakes his head no. He's like, and we're going back to the moon. He's like it was just like so comical. He was probably saying no to something completely different. He wasn't even listening to what Trump was saying, but
Yeah.
still, so funny.
You gotta these people. I tell you what.
People can vilify anyone. It's just.
I'm voting. I'm voting on diarrhea. Buzz Aldrin
We
equals
have the
diarrhea.
best space. Anyways,
Yeah. So wait, we got some comments here. Or Buzz looks like Winona Ryder listening to the cop from Stranger Things giving that Grammy speech. I don't watch Stranger Things,
never seen it.
but I can imagine. Oddly, you know, the whole Winona Ryder thing. Wasn't that one of, or was that Reese Witherspoon? No, not Reese. Who was one of his ex-girlfriends? It wasn't Winona Ryder. It was Ricky. No. Ricci, Christina Ricci.
Christina Ricci, yeah.
And apparently dated her or whatever.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's like whatever. L-I-K link I sent. Oh, Daniel. Wait, what do you mean? The link you sent. You can send me messages. I mean, you can hop on here. We're probably gonna. It's really late.
Yeah.
We need to wrap it up.
We got a long day tomorrow.
I had no idea that it was past 10 like that, and I'm being all loud and laughing and stuff. Anyway, yeah, I'll look up what you were talking about later. But
what was the last thing we were gonna look up?
Some Brett something or other. Steady at 5 though. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Brad was here. Daniel was here. I don't know who the other 3 people are here right now. Because I know Preacher Bear and Ian left. And then that leaves still 2 or 3 people that are just silently watching. My wife could be one of them, though.
That'd be funny.
So Daniel says that we need to get out of the bunker, which is true. We are kind of in an Afghani bunker right now, aren't we? Or are we? How would you
You'll
know?
never know. Undisclosed location.
It's funny how rockish that looks. I mean, it obviously looks like a sheet of
We're
something.
obviously in a Middle East country right now.
Or
in
the
a
moon.
tent, in a tent.
Or the moon.
So, or the moon. We could be on the moon. You never know.
Moon base.
In a nanosecond. As someone very astutely pointed
we
out.
are based
Base.
on the moon. Based.
We would never say that.
I totally like the word based. I think it's hilarious. The based thing.
So, what else was there?
Oh, he said more like Mars. I don't know. We had a couple of good topics tonight, and we had a lot of I don't know what happened. It was just a good night for visitors.
Sweet. Let's do it again next week, guys.
Yeah, we hope to.
But I got to get some sleep.
One way or another. But we have got a long day of work tomorrow. Say a prayer that you can love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. You can pray for us too, but probably need to.
I need prayer. You can pray for me. Always.
Well, we've got a lot of work, a lot that needs accomplished.
And a lot of fellowship, so that'll be fun.
That too.
Love it.
All right. Well, 5 of you and 3 of you being secret people or something. You can leave a comment.
Also true.
And you'd never know. Creflo Dollar might give you $1,000 for leaving a comment on my channel.
It's possible, and also
it is within the realm of possibility, as opposed to some other things.
If you're into the conspiracy series stuff, don't forget to check out my channel as well. You can find me at Breath of Fresh Beer on YouTube, and that's the only thing that I ever use as far as social media. So you won't find me anywhere else.
Except you are like on a group, one of the social media platforms.
Yeah, I never check that most of the time, so you're not gonna find me there. I promise you.
Arrivederci, Brad, and everyone else.
Sweet. Keep seeking truth. You're gonna find it.